Okay, we're going to start with the grip and the grip pressure. Now, by far, this is the only connection from this club head that we have to our body. So the grip position is so important. I can't stress that enough. We're going to start with the left hand. If you'll see, I'm going to lay the grip of the club in my left fingers only. I'm not going to try and put it in the pad, just in the fingers. I'm now going to place the left pad on top of the club and then wrap the rest of my hand around it. Now you can see the V between the thumb and the index fingers pointing toward my right shoulder. I'm going to do the same thing regardless if you have an interlock or an overlap grip in the fingers of the right hand. Cover your left thumb with your right hand, and as you can see, the right hand also, the V between the two is pointing to the right shoulder. So you can see it's only in the fingers. I'm not trying to palm it or hold it in the hands, just in the fingers. Now, of course, this is going to feel a little bit out of control, but that's what we want it to feel like. We don't want control with the hands and the arms. So once you're in the fingers, both V's are pointing to the right shoulder, we have the proper grip. Now let's discuss the grip pressure and the arm pressure. Now in every other hitting and throwing sport, like baseball, we have enough pressure just to hold the ball, but not enough pressure that we're holding it so tightly that we can't use these fulcrums and hinges to be that passive. Golf is no different. On a grip pressure scale of 1 to 10, 10 being I can lift you off the ground, 1 being you throw the club, we're looking for about a 3 or a 4 throughout the entire motion. Now this applies to every single club in the bag. So with the proper grip, the grip pressure, 3, 4, 5, whatever you can become the most consistent with is what I'm looking for. So for me, a 3 on the grip pressure, it's just about letting the club just drop. That's how passive I want the hands and arms to be. So thanks for coming by for the grip, and let's move on to the next tip. Okay, now we're going to talk about posture and balance. In the setup position, it's really important to make sure that your body's in balance. Balance happens naturally. Regardless if it's golf, baseball, tennis, your body's going to stay in balance whether you like it or not. So we want to give the body the best chance to stay in balance. So what I want you to do is start with your feet about shoulder width apart, and I want you to stand straight up holding the club in front of you. From this position, just bend from the torso up until the club contacts the ground. So from this spot, all I want you to do is just barely unlock your knees. Now you can see I'm kind of sitting down nice and balanced and comfortable here. I'm not too top heavy, and I'm not sitting back too much in this position. So we're going to do it again. We're going to stand straight up from the belt line up to the top of the head. We're just going to bend until the club contacts the ground, and then we're going to unlock the knees just a little bit. Now from this position, let your body find its own balance. We don't want to manipulate that position. Your body will do it. It's been doing it since you were born. So from this position here, now you have a pretty good chance of staying balanced through the entire motion. So what I want you to do is just practice on club straight up, bend from the belt line up until the club contacts the ground, barely unlock the knees, and then let your body find its own balance. Okay, let's talk about ball placement. Extremely important with every club that we strike on the ground. Driver's different, but with any club that we're hitting on the ground, we want to give the best chance to hit down on the ball. Now, obviously, the way it's been taught is to play the ball inside your left foot. Great for a driver because we hit the driver on the ascending swing. Any single club that we're hitting on the ground, though, we must trap and hit down on it. So ball placement is very, very important. I want you to place the ball in the middle of the stance, right on your breastbone. That's the middle of your body, hence the middle of the swing. So if you have the ball too far forward in the stance, you have to really move your body too far forward laterally. And in my passive golf swing, it's all about core rotation. So breastbone on top of the ball. And I play the ball a little further back. I cheat it because it's a lot easier to descend on the ball. It's all about distance and control. So I want you to experiment with the ball placement. Nothing left of center. Breastbone would be the bottom. And experiment moving it back and find out what's the most comfortable for you to do. Because I can't tell you, through 26 years, even people that have been golfing for 10, 12 years, they still have a tendency to want to help it off the ground. It's really about the angle of descent. So the ball placement is extremely important. So make sure that you have the ball right in the middle of your stance or favored to the right. Okay, let's discuss the first motion of the club on the takeaway. Traditionally, and even to now, you can actually see books and videos that they want you to take it away with the body. I want you to establish your hands and arms first, meaning I want the hands to set first, not turning the body at all. If you're passive, you have the proper grip pressure, the proper balance. I just want you to feel as if your thumbs are just going straight to the sky. You can see I'm not trying to keep my left arm straight and rigid, because if I do keep my left arm straight and rigid, that's about the extent of my takeaway unless I lift my body. So it's all going to be about the passivity, being relaxed, being soft, thumb straight up. Now, I'm not bending my left arm that much. I'm just not locking it in place. That's going to maintain my passivity. So from this angle, you can see my body's kind of quiet, very passive. I'm not rigid or tight. My thumbs are going to go straight to the sky. Now that's also establishing the plane or the position of the takeaway placement. Thumbs up, you can see it's basically the hands and arms working up. So the first thing that moves is the club head works into my body because the wrists are hinging efficiently. I'm not turning my body 90 degrees and then lifting. I'm just very, very passive. Remember, that 3 on the grip pressure scale, it's got to be passive throughout the entire swing. I want it to be really, really relaxed. Thumbs up to the sky, and that's the extent of the takeaway for every single club that's on the ground. Driver's different, but we'll get into that later. I just want you to focus on thumbs to the sky. Thumbs to the sky, nice and passive. Now we're going to talk about the transition. What is the transition? Well, we have our posture, our weight balance, proper ball placement, grip pressure. The transition is from the top of the takeaway placement to the beginning of the downswing. Extremely important. If you look at baseball, for instance, we've never seen a baseball pitcher get to the windup as fast as he could to throw the ball. It's a takeaway placement, then the power. So what we're going to do with the proper hinge work, the thumbs to the sky, I want you to go to the top and stop. Now from this position, leave your body here and let gravity drop the club and the arms. See how it's just passively just dropping. That's how soft you need to be with every single golf swing that you make. So if I were to go to the top and stop with the proper hinge work, 32 feet per second, it's gravity. It's what we all have. So it's that passive. So something's going to deliver the club to the ball if my hands and arms aren't going to. But for right now, I just want you to work on thumbs up, stop, and drop. Now this wouldn't be considered a drop in my opinion. That's pulling it down. So it's passive, stop, and drop. Work that a couple, 3 or 4 swings so at least you can feel the passivity, and then we'll get into the downswing. Okay, now we're going to talk about impact and post-impact. Now, even the non-golfers know, oh, this is the sport, you have to keep your head down. That couldn't be further from the truth. Imagine a baseball pitcher getting to the windup. Once he's at the windup to leave his head there and throw the ball. We've never seen that. Or let's say a boxer going to throw a punch and leaving his head there. It's all controlled by the head. Now I know you've never heard this, but I actually want you to let your head rotate with your body through the hitting area, which means no, you will not be keeping your eye on the ball and your head down. I want your body to work as a whole unit, including your head. The equilibrium, which controls the body balance, is up here in the head, not down in the body. So on your downswing, when you're passive and you're rotating, to stop your head, inevitably it's going to stop the body. So what I want you to do is actually turn the head out. And you know what? Try it a couple times too early. So you're going to turn your head out before you hit the ground. I'm actually leading my downswing with my eye line and I'm turning my head. The importance of this is so that I can have a lot more club head speed through the hitting area versus all the club head speed before the hitting area. When the head stops, the body stops. That's not golf, that's not baseball, that's just what our body does in human nature. I mean, this is the way it is. The head controls where the body will go and where it won't go. So on your downswing, when we're working on the right shoulder rotation, I also want your head to be a part of that. So at the point of impact, if your head has constant motion, that means your body has constant motion. When your head stops, your body stops. So I'll give you an example here. I'm going to look out the first move on my downswing just to over-exaggerate it so your body has a chance to feel it. We're like shocking the system here. Drop, turn. You can see my head is actually starting the downswing. Now, what's crazy about this is by turning the head, the hips and the shoulders are going to clear automatically because that's what they have to do when the head turns. So I know you may think that it's, well, if I turn my head, how am I going to hit the ball? That's the importance of the ball placement at the bottom of the swing. As long as we know where the breastbone is, we have no problem contacting it. So as long as you're passive, top and stop, drop, turn your head. Okay, now we're going to talk about absolutely killing the golf ball. We're not going to kill it with the small muscles, we're going to kill it with the body. What I mean by that is this. If you follow the first couple of tips, you go to the top and stop and let the club drop. Well, something's going to have to deliver the club head to the ball, not only for power, but for control. Let's say in baseball, you're in center field, I'm in right field, we're having just a grand old time throwing it back and forth. I say, quick, throw it to home plate. You're not going to squeeze any tighter, you're just going to crank your body as hard as you can. But these fulcrums and hinges remain just as passive. We don't need to tighten up the grip pressure when we're throwing a ball as hard as we can versus 5 feet. Same thing with golf. At the top of your takeaway placement, you're really passive, and if you were to stop, it should drop, and it's hitting back here because my body's facing here. So what's going to deliver the club to the ball is going to be the upper body. I don't want you to focus on the lower body. We've all been over-taught to clear the hips and get the power from the legs. That would be like throwing a baseball like this, over-rotating the hips and not using the upper body. So I want the lower body and the upper body to be one huge piece together. So once you're at the top of your takeaway placement, if this club is dropping, I want you to think of hitting the ball with your right shoulder before your club does. So visually in slow motion, it would look like this. Turning my right shoulder to deliver the club to the ball. I'm not turning and flipping. I'm not just using my hands and arms. I'm using my lower body, upper body, and head together to deliver the club to the ball rotationally. This is no different in any hitting and throwing sport, so I don't want it to be any different in golf. In my method, passive golf means passive hands and arms, but aggressive body rotation. So you go to the top and stop, do a couple where it just drops back here. There's the second one. Now on the third one, drop and then turn your right shoulder. Drop and turn. We'll get the power through the centrifugal force only, not the hands. Okay, so now we have the takeaway placement, the transition. Now we're talking about killing the golf ball. It's all about the angle of descent. What I mean by that is how hard can we hit down on the golf ball? Well, it has everything to do with the weight distribution and of course the passivity of the hands and the arms. I want to feel as if at the address I'll have 60% of my weight on my left foot. Now this applies to any golf club that we're striking on the ground, regardless if it's a 1-iron, a 3-wood, or an L wedge. You want to feel as you're going to start left, hinge it properly, stay left, and then go left. The importance is that the angle of descent, in order for me to hit down on it, that my right hand has to remain loaded. So how does it stay loaded? Well, we can do it two ways. We can manipulate the hands and arms off the body, which is incorrect, or we just allow the body to rotate forward, which puts my hands in this position to hit down on it. The sharper that angle is, the further the ball is going to go. So if you can feel as if you're starting left, staying left, and going left, you have a pretty good chance of descending on the ball. And we want the most amount of club head speed, not back in here pre-impact. You want the most amount of club head speed, maybe 2 or 3 feet past impact. The only way to have it accelerating here is to keep the motor, the entire body, accelerating through it. That's also going to give us the club head speed, but the angle of descent is the power by descending on the ball. So we must make sure that we're hitting down on it. It's all about weight distribution. So feel as if you're going to start left, stay left, and go left rotationally. Don't forget, let your head be a part of that motion. Okay, let's talk about the most under-practiced part of the game, which, by the way, is the only way to score, is the short game. Now, let's say all of us hit a pretty good drive, a good second shot, then we're on a par 5. We have a nice, delicate little chip shot. We have a brain fart. It takes us 6 to get up and down from that point. So common, definitely not exclusive to you. The common mistake is the skull shot, the chili dip, which is basically the hands and arms doing all of the work. A chip shot is identical to a full swing. It's the same hinge work, the same muscles directing the club back to the ball for power and control. So with a chip shot, I'm using a 60-degree L wedge here. I'm going to hinge it the exact same way that I would a regular swing, except you can see where I'm stopping. Just the hinge is taking away. A full swing, it's hinge with a little rotation, but a chip shot, basically the hands and arms and thumbs just going straight up to the sky, hinging it up. Same thing applies, a full swing or a chip shot. If I were to go to the top and stop, 32 feet per second, gravity will do it all day long. So it's the same thing, returning the club face to the ball with the body. So passive hands, hinge it up, drop and turn. Now, with a chip shot, you do want to descend on the ball because that's the only thing that imparts the spin. Here's where confidence and trust comes into play. If we watch TV golf, we see them taking a pretty aggressive swing with such a short shot, but they know exactly how that ball is going to bite because they're still descending on it. So what I want you to work on is thumbs up to the sky. You can see my body's not really moving. I'm just hinging my hands and arms straight up to the sky. And you can also see that I'm playing my ball a little further back in the stance because I have to make sure I'm descending on the ball first. Now, if I play it too far forward, I have to actually add some body movement forward. That's when we skull, chili dip, and who knows what. So I want you to feel as if the ball's going to be almost equal inside your right foot. Thumbs up, drop, and turn. So you can see there's no hands and arms. I'm picking it up, drop, and turn. I think I made that. But anyways, I want you to be that passive. Drop and turn just like a mini swing. Okay, here it is, guys. This is the club you've been waiting for. How to hit it 300 plus yards. Really not rocket science, but there are some differences from the irons to the driver. The first is going to be obviously the ball placement. Since the ball is off of the ground, we don't have the luxury of compression by trapping it. And that's also why a driver's 45 inches long. The long drive guys have 52-inch drivers, so centrifugal force can do all of the work for us. So, difference is the weight distribution. With an iron or anything on the ground, we start left, stay left, go left. Well, guess what? With the driver, we want to start right and stay right throughout the entire motion. Now, the hinge works the same. The difference is going to be the amount of rotation that you use with your body on the takeaway. I'm going to use my entire lower and upper body with my hinge work to rotate as far behind the ball as I can. That's going to give me a large arc and a wide arc on the takeaway. Again, we're not going to have the luxury of pinching the ball. We need the most amount of club head speed. So with the ball forward of the breastbone, remember the bottom of the swing is the breastbone, and this is the only club that we actually hit on the ascending swing, we have to make sure that we don't risk hitting down on it. So the ball left in the stance, I want you to feel as if you load 60% of your weight on your right side, and as you take the club away with the same hinge work, rotate your body a little bit more so it transfers maybe 70 or even 80% of your weight to your right foot. Now, the difference with an iron is we rotate forward. With the driver, we don't rotate forward till impact. We're gonna rotate, but not forward. Clear the entire body with the head, everything the same. The passivity is the same. So I wanna be able to hit the ball in the middle of this club face every time for the sweet spot. We don't want any lateral movement back or forth. So you wanna feel as if you're gonna start right, go right, and stay right. Now with an iron, if you lose your balance, you lose it forward. With a driver, if you lose your balance, backwards. We have to make sure that we're ascending on it. Not trying to roll my hands over or get club head speed that way. The same core rotation with the lower, upper, and head moving all together. So you can see I'm gonna place it back, good rotation. From this spot, I'm not gonna wanna move forward. I'm just gonna unwind off the right leg. After impact, the club might pull me forward. And if it doesn't pull me forward and I hang back and fall backwards, that's totally acceptable as well. So let me demonstrate. Ball placement left, 60%, 70% of my weight on my right side. The same thumbs up with a bigger shoulder turn. Again, same thing happens with the driver. If I stop, that's how passive my hands and arms are. Place it back, drop, and turn. And I'll tell you something, being 41 and hitting it 300 yards is really a no-brainer. Give that a shot. There's no question you're going to be able to understand the methodology of my swing. But let me just show you a couple of shots so that you can get an idea. What you'll see is that there's no different in what I'm teaching with my swing. Very passive, very soft takeaway placement, regardless of a pitching wedge, a driver, a 3-iron. It's the same exact position. So I'm going to hit a couple of shots so you can take a look at it. Really is that simple. And just pay attention to a couple of the key points, the head and the passivity and the rhythm and tempo. Woo, it's on.